I always want to have the perspective and the feeling that I can always learn something new about music. I can always meet someone new that shows me something different, that kind of resonates with me in a different way. I feel like you can never ever be a master of this, because of the nature of how creativity and art is constantly evolving in different ways, and there are always different lenses. And I wouldn't want to ever feel like I get to a point where I'm like, this is where my learning finishes. My name's Peter Kardasis, DJ named Ritmiq. I am Chilean and Greek. My mother is Chilean, my dad is Greek. Born in Australia. I guess that's kind of an important thing for me because being mixed race kind of has a bit of a big influence in my style of, I guess, music and I guess my perspective on what I'm trying to say. I am really kind of driven into like music that really makes you want to dance. I guess that's a big part of my culture. Greek and Chilean culture is, very lively, and in group settings or in social settings, like dancing is like a really big thing, and I guess that kind of like really generated a bit of a driving force to the type of style of music that I like to collect. I really kind of like driven by, intricate things, intricate percussive sounds, and just kind of fun bass lines, but I also, really like it when it gets a little bit darker and weirder and a bit more experimental, and sometimes you're kind of like, whoa, what the f is this sound? And yeah, I really am kind of like, I like it when that is all kind of working together. It starts in one pocket and moves to another pocket and then kind of comes back here, and yeah, that kind of journey through sound on the dance floor is something that I really love. I have been collecting music, records in particular, since I was about 15. I think I actually still have my first record here. It's an Outcast album, yeah. And I have been DJing like out live for the last maybe 6 years. I've been making and learning about music production for the last 4 years. And I'm also studying architectural audio and acoustics at Sydney Uni. I'm doing a master's. I don't know if you've seen the Ableton phone app. It's got like it's like a miniature version of Ableton. And then, yeah. I wrote that on the plane, and then, yeah, it's actually not too bad actually. I guess just been going through the last 8 years and stumbling across the weird and wacky wonders of electronic music and the corners of where all these different genres exist around the world, and kind of finding things that I really love and just trying to piece it together in my own way, and yeah, try and tell my own perspective on it. And yeah, I guess this record collection here is also a bit of a representation of the things that I really care about and the music that I really love, and that's kind of my snapshot into the way that I like to collect music and the way that I think about it. When we first started going out, like fresh 18, like where can we find the music that we've been digging on YouTube, and like in high school, because that's kind of what it was like. It was like, you dig for hours on this incredible, like, program YouTube where you can find just amazing corners of the world, and where all electronic music started. And we would like send each other music and be like, where can we find this in Sydney? Where is there anyone playing this? And as we started going out and we would kind of like nestle into a bit of a community that we feel a little bit more comfortable with, you can really go into all these different pockets of electronic music. It's so diverse, and and culture also plays such a big role in it, I think, in particular. Like that was kind of one of the reasons why I found out about like certain record labels like Perlon, which is one of my favorite record labels. But it was because I was like, is there Latin salsa music that was electronic? And then I would find stuff and I'd be like, this is too cheesy, or this isn't really what I was thinking of. And then all of a sudden, like, you stumble upon like the stuff that Ricardo was making when he was like in his 20s, and it just blew my mind, And some of those songs went for like 25 minutes, 30-minute tracks, and I was like, how the fuck is this like legit,
So if you had one superpower, what would it be?
It'd be time travel. So I could go back to these eras. Yeah, I guess I'd probably like time travel back to, I don't know, I think seeing craft work like for the first time ever would have been so mind-blowing. Just like what they were doing with machines would have been like, what the fuck is this? How is this real life? We're in the future, And maybe underground resistance in the 90s, like early 90s, it would have been like really cool to kind of be a part of like a lot of the events, and when new music was coming out, that would have been like amazing. And then another timestamp in history I would go back to is probably I'd love to see Ricardo Villalobos and Luciano in Chile when they were in their 20s before they kind of moved to Europe. And yeah, that would have been so amazing, kind of seeing it in a place that, like I'm Chilean, and go and be with people of my cultural heritage, and then also see like that expression of music happening. Yeah, that would have been so great. Sometimes you don't know where to find the music that you really like, and then when you stumble upon it, you're like, I really resonate with this. And I don't really like the idea of like the way that like music as a whole is kind of like so business organized, and the way that genres are and how music is placed into certain categories in order for it to be sold. It kind of like, I don't know, I think it makes people kind of box things in. When you try and describe the type of music that you like, I don't really like referring to it as a genre, just because, it was someone's idea. I don't know, maybe they didn't necessarily want to be like, this genre is what I'm making, and this is how you need to perceive it. It's just kind of like a piece of music that they created, and all of these elements that they thought worked really well together, and that was their perspective. And yeah, I guess what I play now and what I collect, it definitely took me a lot of years just trying to find new artists and new labels around the world that I didn't know of. And I guess along the way I was able to kind of find the sound. I definitely believe that, like, with DJing in particular, myself and another DJ could have the same record collection. And when it came to it, we really would present that stuff so differently. It wouldn't matter that I have the same record as you. You would choose to present it in such a different way because your lens is so different to mine. You're your own individual person. The way that you get to it would be different to the way that I would get to it, One of the more interesting feelings that I find a bit challenging to navigate is the feeling of meeting peers that kind of give off the energy that they're like competing with you in a way. Like, I don't know, like maybe it's just a perception that they might have on the industry of or what's going on in terms of like nightlife and electronic music and DJing, and maybe they perceive it as something that is competitive. But yeah, whenever that is something that I've kind of struggled with, is like meeting someone feeling like one has to one up the other, you know. I don't really like that perspective on record collecting and DJing at all. In my opinion, that's not what this culture of like electronic music is meant to be about. Is definitely not about excluding people because you can't afford to buy like rare records or like, I don't know, that seems kind of wrong to me. So like I've been going on Discogs and like trying to find like a seller, and then nothing over like $5 or $10. I kind of know where things are, but I also don't, and it's really annoying me, and I need to sit down and like reorganize everything. But like all I know is that there's like really down tempo stuff here, and then there's like US house here, and then all of this is just like mixture, and then like mainly peak time stuff here, and then I think other things. I don't really know. I haven't spent a lot of time digging down there for a while, so I don't know what's in there. In terms of like DJing, it is like definitely about connection with the people that are, you know, in front of you. Definitely feels like I'm doing a good job if I can see people kind of like dancing and moving and, you know, kind of, I don't know, like not so much focused on what I'm doing, you know, and trying to figure out like what's the next song that I'm going to play, or like how is he mixing, or like is he playing a digi, is he playing a record. I feel like that kind of ruins the energy on the dance floor when people are bringing that kind of perspective. It's kind of like, are you here to like move and dance and, you know, kind of let go of that energy that you may have pent up, or are you here to kind of just analyze, you know, what the night is and what the DJ is doing? I feel like you can feel when DJs are DJing at people without any consideration of like the people that have come. Nightclubbing in particular for me, before I even started to play live, was that, I don't know, this might sound like really strange, but it's actually such a quiet place for me. I used to go nightclubbing during a bit of a challenging time with my family, and I used to go there because I knew no one would speak to me, and I would go alone, and I would go and just stand in the middle of the dance floor and dance for a really long time, and not have to worry about conversing with someone or talking to someone about how my day was. I didn't really want to. This was just my way of kind of like getting it out. Since that, it's kind of made me be really connected to the whole concept of like being in a really dark room, being enveloped by sound. You know, it was kind of like a hug in a way, like, you know, and it's weird to say that, and like, I don't know, I've studied the concept at uni, and being enveloped by sound is kind of like, it gives you that sensation. But it was like very therapeutic in a way, and I always knew when a DJ was DJing at me, because I would always leave feeling like they didn't really try and connect in any way. Like they didn't look up, they didn't, you know, see if people were moving or if they were still or if they were disengaged, you know, like I would always feel that. Yeah, and I definitely don't want that feeling with people. I want people to know that like I'm there because I'm trying to present my perspective to them in a way that's truthful to me, but also like allows you to leave feeling like, wow, like, you know, there was some kind of connection here, and, you know, whatever in whatever way that they feel. Yeah. Experimentation while playing, I think, is really important. So like not preparing the order of songs, I definitely don't like that at all. It's good for some people. It's just definitely not the way that I think I value what being a DJ is. I definitely like to prepare a really large amount of music that I would like to potentially play. And then as the night unfolds and the way that the energy in the room is presenting itself, just kind of like feel my way through what type of music that I have. I definitely want to avoid like trying to over analyze how to present the music, because perfectionism isn't what I'm trying to achieve. You know, like I definitely think that has hindered the experimental side of DJing and letting DJs feel comfortable to take a risk. And if they fuck up, like, who cares? You know, that's okay. You know, I would rather see someone try and bridge like things that might not necessarily work all the time, or they try and take a risk doing that, than them just try and stick to a rigid plan and go from A to B. Because then that doesn't really, to me, feel like they're aiming to make a connection. It just feels like they're a Spotify playlist. And I can do that on my own, you know? I can play songs from A to B and program them exactly. I would rather see someone like take a risk. If they fuck it up, who cares? Like, they're a human being, we're all human beings. Like, I don't know, perfectionism in nightclubbing and in DJing in particular, I don't know, I don't agree with in particular. And I guess like, it kind of, those two things, like they definitely resonate with me when I make music. Whatever I make in that moment is, you know, truthful to what I feel. And yeah, I definitely want to feel comfortable and proud of everything that I make, regardless of what it is, you know, without placing any kind of limitation or like placing it in a box. Yeah, that's just the way that I perceive making music, and DJing in particular. If DJs and artists perceive like music in that way, like that you are like a constant student of this, you know, it is a never-ending journey of like finding new things and learning about it and seeing someone else's perspective. And I find that process of like thinking and feeling to be something that I resonate with like really deeply. Yeah. Forever. Forever.